Wow, oh my gosh, what a turnout. Welcome everyone. Thank you so much for coming and for supporting the arts. And I'm sorry it's a little bit confined right now. We're all friends and hopefully we can all squeeze in and see everything. Thank you, Shannon, for that lovely introduction. And there will be some repeats because I didn't know you're gonna read the whole statement. But hello everyone, my name is Teneé Hart and I am the artist of this exhibition. So hopefully you came here to learn a little bit more about me and my practice. But first things first, I am realizing that this is not showing my notes. Okay, but I will figure out technical difficulties, and I wanted to say thank you for everyone, including the people that Shannon mentioned that were part of the team. This was 2 weeks of install every single day we were in here. My dear friends that helped me were April, who is over there in the corner. We have Kaylee over here. We have Hannah Glazer here. We have Lisa Coe here. And then this is my husband, Mikey. But it was a collective effort for all of us. And I seriously could not have done it without the UCF gallery team. Larry, Ryan, Shannon, you guys were amazing. And a special thank you to Jason, the UCF staff member, who also helped check in and do my lumber delivery and everything. It was a whole team effort. And then this is our Pathways photo from the 2024 exhibition. So, just to give you a reference for this whole presentation is that it is the quickest artist talk I could create. It's gonna be so fast, I promise. I know we're all like holding hands at this point, but I'm gonna go through it super quick. As Shannon stated, the main driving force of inspiration for me is actually my grandmother. And she's featured there. At a very young age, she taught me how to sew, and I took those skills and I thought I was like a master like seamstress at the age of 5. You know, like that was it. I was taking all the scraps and everything that she had like remnants that she was just throwing on the ground, and I would just sit there with thread and just bind them and hope that I was making something beautiful. And in my eyes, they were definitely beautiful. So through that inspiration of creation, I didn't really at first use fibers. I actually came to finding fibers in grad school again. I probably, like many of you artists, start as a painter, and which might seem really odd when you look at this exhibition, but yes, I was a 2D artist, and then I fell in love with 3D, and then even more so in love with this idea of taking up space and installation as a whole. So some of the artists that I am inspired by is Eva Hess, who is a minimalist artist of her time and really derived a lot of her pieces from material exploration. Actually, a bunch of these pieces are from, this is actually one of my favorite pieces of hers, is a studio study of hers. But she was a pioneer of her time, like many of the artists that I'm going to mention. Claire Ziesler is a prominent fiber artist, part of the fiber revolution in the 1960s. Her wrapped, twisted forms have always inspired me, especially the vibrant colors that she uses. And it was, they're monumental, which if you can see, and I'm sure you have seen my sculptures, I'm very inspired by the size that she uses within her own works. Next artist is Sheila Hicks, who created the idea of giant sculptures within fibers. She was also part of the 1960s fiber revolution. This is just one of her examples of her giant sculptures. And these would actually billow out of buildings. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Hicks's work, but this is just it in a gallery setting, and I highly recommend that you guys look into Hicks's work. Maria Nepomuceno is a phenomenal fiber artist that uses car enamels and clay as well within her fiber works, but makes these massive installations that are all encompassing. Tara Donovan, forever changed by her use of materials. She takes the everyday material and creates these massive they are installations that take over space. But if you could guess, over here, those are paper plates. This is receipt paper, and this is mylar. So I do take inspiration by her with this idea of transforming the everyday. And then we have Dohosa, who, it's kind of obvious what I'm pulling from Dohosa, but Dohosa's concept of home is really one that I also recognize and try to embed into my practice and into my installations. I do love that one of Dohosa's first works was actually a piece that he carried around with him in a suitcase for years, just working on by hand before he had the million assistants that he has now. So I do love that kind of story of we all start at these beginning stages, and then maybe one day we can have a million assistants. Process. So with my process, it really encompasses a lot of material exploration, because I do believe that materials have significant meaning, and it also, like, playing with those materials to manipulate them to become something other than what they are is an absolute goal when I'm in the studio. As you can tell through my work, I wrap a lot, these repetitive acts of sewing and wrapping and knitting, these craft-based processes. They're really near and dear to my heart, and I don't think of them as like the naughty word craft. I think of them as these tools of tradition that we elevate and we can elevate. So within my material studies, I should have included a picture of my studio because it looks absolutely crazy. And it has all my material studies like pinned on the wall, like I'm dissecting like materials in themselves. And it to me is inspiring to see what something can become, to the point of, again, what I was saying before is like where you look at something, just like Tara Donovan, where you look at something and you don't recognize it. So I play a lot with, obviously, fiber materials, but I also play a lot with domestic materials. I think that these domestic materials that are associated with the everyday and also with the home can be transformed and can start to embody something else. So let's just dive into some recent works. I have a lot of childhood languages, nostalgic languages within my work. One of them is Barbie. I always thought of her as an idol of something, this kind of unattainable beauty standard that I could never reach, and I still always hope one day I could be Barbie, especially Shimmer Barbie and her iridescent boa that she would just glide with. But it's these idols that I feel like really have created a sense of insecurity, I think, within myself, of being able to never achieve Barbie's figure is unachievable. It's just anatomically can never happen. But somehow that's in my mind of what I needed to be and what I still strive to be. You can see also the leak of Barbie into everything, whether that's the pastel colors, glitter plastics, glitter in general. I'm so lured by everything that is the essence of Barbie. So one of my pieces, Sestota, is about ingesting tapeworms. I'm sure you guys have all read the statements around the exhibition. You can obviously take some time and do that, but I'm just going to touch upon a few of the beauty extremes that we have going on. So yeah, in the 1920s, women used to ingest tapeworms in order to lose weight, and that is actually something still practiced today. It is still sold as an option. And then with powdered and pale, this is commenting on the white lead face powders that used to be worn in the Victorian times. And luckily, we don't practice that anymore today because we all know that lead is really bad for you. But back in the day, they used to use white lead along with other powders like talc and things like that and crush pearls and create these kind of makeup solutions to what they were currently experiencing, which was the smallpox outbreak. And so vicious cycle, of course, is that we're using it to conceal, and then what is lead doing? It's going to deteriorate and make craters and just pull away and create more of an issue that then you're like, wait, I need more of this to cover this up. So it's these vicious cycles of beauty. And then I'm sure you guys saw that the pox lamps that are in the corner, they are actually usually hung upside down in the space to expose their underneath, but we have a different version of it here today. But take a closer look if you're in the room and see all the intimate details of all those hand-glued pearls. Libretz touches upon the Surma women who wear lip plates in order to be beautiful, and really that the larger your lip plate, the more beautiful you are. The really sad thing about the lip plates is that once the lip plate becomes larger, you actually need more support. So then the lower teeth are removed in order to create more support, which is why if you kind of, it's not connected to the piece, but right across from the piece, you see the plexi piece with the teeth. That is supposed to comment on that. Another childhood chokehold of mine is Polly Pocket. I'm sure you guys are sensing these rooms that are glowing and kind of have all these intimate details and compartments that I'm sure you want to touch, but maybe don't. But for me, that's what Polly Pocket was. It was like these intimate worlds that had these parts that would open up and hinge and reveal these like hidden secrets. And I love these. I still collect Polly Pockets, not the new ones, the old ones. So my collection one day will be complete. But the reason why I mentioned Polly Pockets in general is because they were actually the inspiration for why I started doing these rooms. It was like, how do I create these worlds within a space? And I was like, oh, I can create a room. And that's what I did. And I haven't stopped doing it, even though they're very hard to build. And this is womb veils. It's actually right behind me, and this piece comments on the journey of the diaphragm to the United States and the struggles that was to bring over something that should have already been here. Reproductive rights is one that we deserve and a fight that we are continuing to battle. And I just want you guys to advocate for reproductive rights. And then the next piece over here is Yuri. Quite a dangerous piece, so watch your step over there. It comments on the glass skin beauty trend that's currently happening in South Korea. And I'm sure we've all heard it on the social medias and everything like that, that idea of having the beautiful pale skin and translucency, again, an unachievable beauty extreme. And the way that women do that naturally is that they wear sun hats and they cover with sleeves, and they're completely trying to avoid the sunlight so that their skin can become pale and more translucent. And also they have an extreme moisturizing routine that I won't go into. That's how you do it naturally, but there's quick fixes, as with every beauty standard. And the way they do that is actually through injections. And that is why there are syringes and tempered glass on the floor. If anyone's ever gone through Botox or anything like that, you know that there are side effects, and not only just instant side effects, but also lasting side effects that could happen months to years later. And these are just some snapshots of the pieces with the women that have donated, not donated, but given me materials, and I've made the pieces with them. So the women in my life are very important to me, and when the materials that they have, I always like to incorporate and make sure that they're somehow represented in my work. Some to hold on to their memory, and some to just know that they are just so important to me. And then we have ugi usu, which is the gurgling sound that you're hearing throughout my whole talk. But ugi usu is about the nightingale feces cream that geishas used to use in order to remove their makeup, but also whiten their skin. It's not a beauty process that really harms the user. It's more so the cruelty that happens to the nightingales is why I mention it, is because it's a beauty extreme that is still practiced today, and the conditions of the animals is quite devastating. And then this brings us to this show. So No Place Like Home obviously has a nod to one of my childhood nostalgic memories, which is The Wizard of Oz. It is a constant reminder of my childhood. I was obsessed with this. I had the VHS, and it was so worn out. The sticker that was on it, which is this like image, and it said The Wizard of Oz, it had worn away so much that you could barely even see it. That's how many times I put it in the VHS player. And that dates me, like totally. I'm sure everyone's like, what is a VHS? It was like these old cassettes. No, I'm just kidding. But it's a childhood memory, and it is one that I really wanted to finally take the time to acknowledge and do right within an exhibition. And that is why, as you are experiencing this exhibition, it is the spectrum of colors. It is supposed to be as if you're going through all the colors of the rainbow. And really creating these like Technicolor rooms, which we all know that Wizard of Oz was the first film to play with Technicolor. So that is what I was trying to do. And there are certain pieces within this exhibition that specifically tie to the Wizard of Oz. The vanity one, I'm sure you guys can guess what it ties to, but it reminds me of, when I was creating it, it reminds me of the man behind the curtain, the wizard, and kind of his frailty of his secret that he was just an ordinary man, and like the facade that was. And we have another piece that is all the way in the back. If you make the full journey all the way to the back of the gallery, it's worth it. I made sure that it was. There is an Easter egg in this piece that ties directly to the Wizard of Oz, and I hope you guys will experience it. But the other piece is the wall of frames, which is literally called Behind the Curtain, so direct reference to the Wizard of Oz. And that is the shortest artist talk I could create, and that's it.
2 questions?
Sure, yeah.
Thank you so much, Teneé. I think we have time for maybe like 2 questions, and then I'll encourage you to hang around and talk with Teneé one-on-one, but there might be a couple questions. Okay, see your hand first.
I think I asked this before, but I do want to know, like, what led to your decision for each of the colors for each room?
So mostly the colors are actually dictated by the pieces that are in it. So that I should have mentioned this. I'm a monochromatic artist, if you can't tell from all these rooms that are monochromatic, but I really hold to one color, usually within a piece. So because I started doing installation later than when I did sculpture, it kind of just, the sculptures actually ended up dictating what the color of the room would be. Now, as I'm creating new installations and things like that, I'm thinking of that all together, of like what the symbolism is. Like currently I'm working on a piece right now that's called Tinge, and it's actually going to be kind of like a sage green piece. And the whole room is going to be green because that piece is about eating and ingesting clay in order to whiten your skin. And actually, the women that used to do this, they would ingest so much clay that actually their skin would actually tinge green. So there is meaning now.
Yeah, so I really enjoy your exhibition so far. Like reading a lot of the links is so interesting. It's like a fun path that I really like what you've done. So I realize like a lot of your works are very like historical, like bringing kind of the past to life.
Mm-hmm.
Will you continue kind of bring that to your current works and future works, or will you focus more perhaps on like new beauty standards and trends, like how like women today like would be offered like influencers, for example, would be offered like Botox treatments to advertise, you know, or like there's these strange trends of like how not to smile to pursue your pursuit.
It's a great question. I do love to work with the past as well as the present. And I like to juggle between those because I feel like if I just solely focused on the past, then how am I bringing this relevance to everyone, that's to my viewers? So I like to go back and forth so that hopefully within an exhibition space, I'd be able to showcase both, which is, why we have, Bosom Booster right here next to Yuri. Like one's very contemporary beauty trend, and this one is back to World War II. So I like going back. It's not really a great answer, but I like juggling them back and forth, and I anticipate that I'm going to continue to do that, as well as continue working with what the new pieces, which is actually directly ties to me personally. I think it's taken me a long time to bring, while I'm in all of this, because it is something I personally deal with and struggle with. I think it's in this exhibition that I learned that I could be vulnerable enough to show that struggle to my viewers.
This isn't a question, this is more of a comment, and it's very true. I got really emotional walking through these pieces because they are very beautiful, but in the articulation of the detail, there's so much like violence and strain that I really feel in this pursuit of beauty. That as a woman, I got overwhelmed, especially with Womb Veil and the piece in the back where I was like, there's so much here in the contemporary because we still are dealing with this kind of violence to ourselves to achieve beauty. So I just wanted to tell you that I got emotional today.
No, and I appreciate that because I feel it when I'm obviously feeling it when I'm creating the work, but I want to make it approachable for everyone. But my hope is always that you guys take something away from the pieces in the work and you further research it more. And I mean, I create these works, and it's a way for me to deal with my emotions about beauty and my struggles with it. And I hope that maybe it could also help you guys to know that you're not alone in it. But Yeah.